All right, so the bottom half of the front page of the Chapter 5 study guide, um, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are pretty much exactly the same. The only difference is how many times they compound. So I'm going to do 6 and then I'll do 8. So let's first do 6 here. So over here, remember when we're dealing with compounding interest that our formula is P parentheses 1 plus R to the n power. And P is the original investment amount. So the original investment around here is 6,000. So I'll put that in for 6,000. And then my R, remember, is my APR divided by the number of times that my investment compounds per year. So in this case, it's 0.08, and semi-annually means 2 times per year. So that means my R is 0.04. And then my N is going to be the number of years times the number of times it compounds per year. In this case, it is a 3-year. So right there it says 3 years. So it's a 3-year investment. And so we would multiply that times, because it compounds semi-annually, be times 2. So a total of 6 times it's going to compound over the life of this loan or this investment. So I'll plug this into my formula. So it's 6,000. 1 plus 0.04 to the 6th power. Now I'm going to do every step here. You can obviously skip some of these steps if you can kind of do them together. But first I have to do what's inside of the parentheses. So 1 plus 0.04 is 1.04 to the 6th power. Then what I'm going to do is I will do 1.04 to the 6th power, because remember in PEMDAS the second thing is exponent. I have an exponent here. So I'll go 6,000 times 1.04 to the 6th power. When I do that in my calculator, I get 1.265319018. The question is, do I need to put all of that? Well, if you want to get the right answer, you don't round anything until the final answer. So yes, you will. And then it's going to leave me with 7,000. When I multiply these two together, I get $7,591.91. Now, that's not actually the answer, because the answer is what is the interest earned. This is the amount that's in the account. So I have to subtract the original investment. And once I subtract the original investment, then it'll tell me how much my account actually went up and I earned an interest. So that's $1,591.91. So this is actually my answer that I need for right here, $1,591.91. All right, so just like that one, we'll do number 8 here. 8, the only difference is how many times per year it compounds. So our P is still going to be 6,000. Our R now, though, is my APR divided by the number of times it compounds per year. So 0.08 is my APR still, but now instead of dividing it by 2 for a semi-annually, I divide it by 12, because there are 12 months in a year. So I go 0.08 divided by 12, and that gives me 0.0066 and a 7. That's what fits in my calculator, so that's what I'm going to use. My N is years times the number of times it compounds. It's still 3 years long, but this time it compounds 12 times per year. So my N is 36. So I'll take this information and I will plug it into my same formula. So it is 6,000 parentheses 1 plus 0.00666667 to the 36th power. First thing I do is it's in the parentheses. So I'll add those two together. All right, next thing is I do my exponent. So I'll go 1.0066666667 to the 36th power, and that leaves me with 1.270237052. Now I'll multiply these two together. I'm going to get 7,621.42. That's not my answer. I want to subtract the original investment to get the amount of the interest, and I end up with $1,621.42. That's the number I'm looking for. That's the number that's going to go in right here. Now, 9 and 10 are essentially the same thing. They're just kind of separate problems instead of all using the same information. So I'll go ahead and take a look at number, I suppose we could do number 10. And for number 10, again, we need our P, we need our R, and we need our N. For number 10, my principal is $900. My R is going to be 5.5%, 0.055 divided by 4 because it's quarterly. All right. And so when I throw that into my calculator, I get 0.01375. And then for N, it's going to be years. In this particular case, it's a 1-year loan times the number of times it compounds per year, which is 4. And so I'm going to get 4. I'll plug this into my formula, 900, 1 plus 0.01375 to the 4th power. First thing is I have to combine those two there. So 900, 1.01375 to the 4th power, 1.01375 to the 4th power gives me 1.056144809. And then when I multiply those two together, I get $950.53. So that's what goes right there. All right. That should get you through the front page of the study guide.